To be whisked away back into Thra because, whew, yeah, that's what just happened to me. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new Netflix TV review. Today I'm going to be discussing Season 1 of The Dark Crystal Age of the Resistance. Of course, this is a prequel taking place way before the original Dark Crystal that came back out in 1982. This is a Jim Henson property, and really, growing up, I loved a lot of what Jim Henson had done. I was a big fan of puppetry, and just in general, the craftsmanship of those elements, I was super excited about because it was just always super unique. And knowing that Age of the Resistance is taking on this puppetry to another level, another scale that I don't think we've ever seen or even been able to imagine coming about on the screen. It is here now. It is in a prequel form, and I'm so excited to be talking about this, guys. But of course, if you guys are new here, comment down below and let me know, are you guys a fan of the original Dark Crystal? Are you guys excited about this new show? It is coming out very soon on August 30th, and you guys definitely are going to have to check that out. In the Dark Crystal Age of the Resistance, it returns us to the world of Thra, where three Gelflings discover the horrifying secrets behind the Skeksis' power and set out to ignite the fires of rebellion and save their world. Again, this is one of those properties that when I was younger, I remember watching this around when I was 8 or 9 for the first time at a friend's house, and it used to scare the living crap out of me just because of how a lot of the characters looked. And in general, this world was so unique and different that in the 80s, you know, these kind of kid films could be a little bit more scary, and I actually really like how Age of Resistance still teetered to that. It teeters to the nostalgic feels of the original Dark Crystal while also bringing in new fans and people maybe who have never discovered Dark Crystal are going to be in for a worthwhile ride. I think truly one of the most important things about the show is how much passion you can definitely tell when into this show. There were multiple times when I was watching this season and I was just blown away by the craftsmanship. Seriously, the craftsmanship alone is what truly should be talked about. The attention to detail, the feel of that 80s, but also using modern technology to build upon what had made the original so great is all within here. The way that you're just sucked into this world is to another type of level. And the way that I was kind of just sitting there, I had to keep reminding myself that this is not a real world, that these are puppets, and almost everything in here is actually practical effects. With using practical effects, which obviously do help further out and make this world feel more fleshed out, whisks you back into the world of Thra so well to the point where maybe if you've never discovered it, it's a brand new world for you to dive into. But if you're someone who has been in this world again, it's like it's never missed a beat. Adding in again to the attention to detail and some of the sequences that they panned out in here. While again, some of the sequences with these characters are absolutely jaw-dropping, especially when it comes to some of the action set pieces, which I would love to see a behind the scenes of how they performed a lot of them. There are multiple moments where I was sitting there, I'm like, they are puppets doing this? How? Adds to the passion that you can definitely feel that was pouring from in front of and behind the camera when it came to taking care of this property. When it came to certain characters, I was truly just amazed by looking at them and just all the subtle details that kind of went into them, whether it was the Gelflings or the Skeksis. Maybe even some of the other monsters that you might encounter on the way through your journey. I'll say though, sometimes it is a little bit jarring once you start the show and it's obviously puppets. You're trying to get into the feel of this world, and for people who aren't a fan of puppets, maybe this isn't going to kind of be the show for you. That's kind of what it's weird about, because I've always been a fan of this craftsmanship. I've always been like a big praise about every single thing that's kind of different in Hollywood, and I love that Netflix actually let them do this, because this could have been an easy animated series that you could have done, but doing the puppetry is kind of what added to the mix of everything within this and actually elevated this new series that takes place before the original Dark Crystal to another type of moment. I definitely think fans of the original Dark Crystal will appreciate this craftsmanship more than others, but I also think there will be new people who come in who have never been a fan of the Dark Crystal, or even younger kids who will be able to discover this for the first time and really, again, diving into this world, this beautiful fantasy world. I think people who are fans of fantasy elements and genres should dive into this. If the puppetry is a little bit jarring to them, it's okay. You do settle into it eventually. The thing that I adored truly just from the first episode was the feel of how this world is so fleshed out, just within layers and layers, and for being a property that leans towards kids but also feeling a bit more intense and scary for younger viewers, as it did back in the 80s and in general, whenever you tried to start and watch the first one when you were younger. It still carries that same feeling without alienating anyone. Carrying a lot of fantastical mythology into this new fantasy world that a lot of people will be discovering for the first time. The thing I like about this so much is that the thing about fantasy is I think these type of shows, whether it's a Game of Thrones, a Witcher, or even the new Lord of the Rings show that will be coming out, when it comes to Dark Crystal, you kind of look at this and it's like, as a movie format, you can definitely dive into some things and have a fun time. But I think with a series, a 10-episode series that truly, this did not feel like a TV show. This felt like a 10-hour movie, which I'm all a fan of. But the thing with this is you get time to build up this world, build up the mythology, and world build a lot more than you would say in an hour-and-a-half movie. Netflix truly has something on its hands here within this world and how much you could seriously dive in and get. It's a dark series, one that takes no punches and will genuinely shock you and sometimes even disturb you, but also the whole time keeping you intrigued while sucking you into this world. It's the politics, the monsters, the characters that you come to love, and some of the characters that you come to hate, or maybe even the culture and the other surroundings that detail into this world. It is all breathtaking. Getting this chance to explore more of the world of Thra is probably one of the most worthwhile things for why you should dive back into the Dark Crystal Age of the Resistance. Season 1 feeling truly like a movie, it lends to that, with each episode's pacing feeling a little long but also memorable, each one adding more to the story and the mythology, and I love a show that doesn't just feel like it's episodes, it truly feels like that 10-hour movie that I was talking about, and one that you definitely never wanted to end. In these 10 episodes, there is a brilliant voice cast in here. A bunch of really famous actors who are all brilliant in their own manners have come in to discuss and bring these characters and their voices to life. They're characters that we have met before or even characters that we haven't. There are so many great things, and each actor truly brings in these tones that never felt jarring to me. And sometimes when you hear a voice actor who is someone maybe famous, you kind of sit there and be like, oh, that's Ryan Reynolds' voice, or that's Hugh Jackman's voice. But in this one, almost every actor, for a while, it took me a bit to kind of guess who was playing who until I actually looked it up. There you go through the voice cast of Helen Bonham Carter, Awkwafina, Taron Egerton, Natalie Dormer, Nathalie Emmanuel, Mark Hamill, of course, Lena Headey, Jason Isaacs, Toby Jones, Keegan-Michael Key, Simon Pegg, Strong, Anya Taylor-Joy, Alicia Vikander, Sigourney Weaver, Benedict Wong, and really, the cast still goes on and on. How do you even fathom getting that brilliant of a cast to voice your characters is beyond me, but they all added to the different levels of who they were playing. I actually don't even want to mention who they were playing because I want you kind of to dive in and kind of play around it for your own sake. My new favorite characters in this world is Hup, a little adorable little guy who has a spoon who just wants to protect people. It is adorable. He is one of my favorite characters and I could have used him so much more in this show. And really, there are a lot of great characters in here. Again, I don't want to dive into them too much just because of the cast alone, and I want you to still play around with it, but I had to mention Hup because I just love the guy so much. To get to my final thoughts on Season 1, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you guys are new here and enjoying this review, because I do tons of early movie reviews, geeky reviews, all sorts of entertaining stuff on this channel on a daily basis, and plus you guys and I also head over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early, plus big round of applause to all my Patreon supporters, because without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. As you can tell, I had a blast diving into the world again of Thra. It just made me relive my childhood just a bit more, and I truly hope this isn't just a one and done season. I hope we get a Season 2. I actually truly need a Season 2. There's so much more to the world of the Dark Crystal that I would love for them to explore. There's so many things that they set up brilliantly in here and other things that I just want to dive into even more. While this feels like a 10-hour movie, I know some people will probably have a little bit of an issue with some of the pacings within some of the episodes feeling a little bit too long, as much as it was into this world, and a lot of it is to take in at times. I will admit there is a lot going on in this show in almost every single episode, but that's a great thing because there is no filler, which thank God. For me, this wasn't an issue, but I can see some people having an issue binging this show. But seriously, this is one that you definitely have to dive into and just let it whisk you away. The craftsmanship alone is what makes this show so passionate and brilliant and extravagant. When you look at all the attention to detail within the small, subtle nuances of the puppetry to even the backgrounds and the practical effects they use, whether it's even the action set pieces, which are truly jaw-dropping at times, this is one of those fantasy shows that definitely deserves your attention, with a brilliant story that's told through episode 1 to episode 10. I could not stop watching this show. I just wanted to binge it all the way through, and the second it ended, I went, Damn! That's it? I definitely need more of this. And with all that said, Netflix, you definitely need to renew this again because I cannot wait to dive into this world even more. I can't believe it's been this long since I've been able to dive into the Dark Crystal, but man, I hope it's not too long until I have to see the next season. So with all that said, I'm going to give the Dark Crystal Age of the Resistance an A. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the show. Again, are you guys fans of the original? Are you guys excited for this one? Or is this your first time diving into the Dark Crystal? Let's discuss it down below, guys. And thank you guys again so much for checking out this early review of the Dark Crystal Age of the Resistance. Very much appreciated that Netflix hooked it up for me to check this out. But guys, thank you guys again so much for watching this. Share this review, hit that like button, comment down below, and also make sure to go over to Sandwich on Films. But guys, of course, until next time, thank you guys again, and stay classy.